Episode 66, and I am so sorry that I am late. Would you believe I was actually here on time, but the software decided to do some weird and wonderful things on me, and I've literally spent the last 15 minutes trying to untangle this interesting web we weave in order to come to you both simultaneously on YouTube and on Facebook. So morning, Jeanette. I am just so sorry for that. But that's all right. I'm here now, and I know you only got me once last week. I'm afraid I had an unscheduled visit up to Waikato. So with a family emergency, but that's okay. We're back on deck now, got back to the bay in time for the weekend, and am here to see what you guys are all up to. And I hope you have survived January, and we're heading now into February. Who can believe it? February already. So I will definitely be sending out a newsletter this afternoon. For a couple of reasons. One, I will be announcing the winners within the Skeinz Speakeasy from our Stitch in Summer. Sorry, I haven't done it already. I've just sort of run out a little bit of time, but in fact, it's the first job I'm doing after I come off here with you guys is to get that drawn. And I want to say, wow, Stitching Summer, you guys just rock. You're amazing. And I just want to thank you so much for all your contributions into Stitch in Summer, and how many of you too really kind of got into the theme of it all as well, of just, getting in and knitting a whole bunch of different things, potentially using stash yarn, using new yarn, using patterns that you may already have had around, and how much knitting that actually got achieved across December and January was pretty incredible. Absolutely adored seeing all the December knitting that was intended for gifts, then having images of the recipients wearing them and enjoying them and loving them, because often that's what it's all about. We just love doing it, don't we? So it was wonderful, and it really did the heart and the soul a lot of good. I know I'm not very active in the speakeasy. I mean, I will comment here and there, but believe me, I do look around, and I know I really love seeing it, talking to the team today. A number of our Skeinz and Mill team are actually in the Skeinz Speakeasy. I don't know whether you guys realise that, but they're there. And I was just at the mill before I came here talking to our production manager, and she was just saying, she goes, "Oh, did you see this on the Speakeasy?" Or, "I really love that." And she loves seeing it. It is just so good to the heart, and I think by it feels good to share what you've done, but I think you don't realize how much what you're sharing actually inspires others. So keep it up. Absolutely love it. So what I thought I would do is I would share with you my progress of my second Stitch in Summer project, which of course is a second Miss Jane, and I'm sporting a Miss Jane today. This is one of about 6 that I own, which I knitted specifically to go with this dress, and all of this ensemble is going to make sense to you in a moment. So, but I'll get to that in a minute. My second project, of course, is and I'm partway through a row, typical, was that, and I wanted to use our new Flight and Pulse yarns, which saw out our Stitching Summer promotions last week, at the end of last week. So Wednesday, we had a 3-day special on those, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, on both of them simultaneously. Now, I do have to let you know from the team that they are running a bit behind in orders. It was a massive week last week. You guys loved that last promotion, and a whole heap of you were ordering in and getting prepared for the month ahead. Some of you getting prepared potentially with kids going back to school. I know I have got one that went back today and the other goes back tomorrow. Can't wait. So for me, my progress, to be fair, has been a little slow. But what made me feel so much better when I actually picked it up and had a good go at this again last night actually, was Jeanette, because I know you're here because you were first in this morning, Jeanette. I saw yours finished up. Jeanette, by the way, is a knitting machine, but she did a Miss Jane in the Pulse, in the Ripple, which I've done mine in. And I saw your colours and they looked so good. And I think Jeanette's done hers just all in the Pulse Ripple. She hasn't done a contrast colour like I've done. But it was just so inspiring to see Jeanette's completed, because sort of let me see where the finishing line is going to go and going to be. So I loved it. And so thank you, Jeanette, for doing that. It just gave me the just that shot in the arm that I needed to pick it up last night and do a bit more. So this is where I'm at. So look at that at the back. I love how the colours are all so different. I just love it. This is me. I love it. I love it. Love it. And there we go at the front. And as you can see going around, I'm actually decided that I'm going to do this a little bit longer than I normally would for my Miss Janes. I keep them quite cropped because I often wear these with dresses. But the colours in this actually sit with another number of items in my wardrobe that fit into this colour palette, which are actually things like jeans and trousers and chinos. And so actually a slightly longer cardigan I think will work better as a piece. So I am actually going to have to get some more yarn because the crop version usually I can use 8 to 10 of the main colour and then a couple of balls for the contrast. I will definitely need an additional ball for contrast. I think I'm not going to get potentially not. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to modify. Shocker. Marie's going to modify. What I think I'm going to do is I actually really loved, I've actually done a little feather and fan in the contrast panel here. What I've decided I think I'm going to do is continue the body petal down, keep the contrast down the side, but I'm actually just going to do a feather and fan across the bottom using the main color because it just sort of fans out a little bit, and I think that will actually look kind of nice, and it will just sort of take it down and sort of lengthen that out. So instead of chopping it off with a block of color at the bottom, because this will potentially finish from a cardigan length point of view at sort of the widest circumference of one's body, I think we might just create a little softer visual illusion by just going down in one color, because there's going to be enough sort of vertical stripes rolling around anyway. We don't want to tempt fate. Well, that's the plan at this stage, but you know me, I'm likely to change it again, but that's where I'm at. So I've done about 25 odd centimeters already. I think I might want to do another 10 or 15. So usually I would, at that sort of length, just looking at this one here, I would actually be going into the bottom, but I'm actually thinking I'm going to keep going on that. I quite like the fact that I have a number of these cardigans and they're all different sleeve lengths and body lengths, and so that's the beauty of a fantastic design like this. Miss Jane by Georgie Nicholson, aka Tiki Knits, available on Ravelry, is that you can actually create those modifications to be able to suit your wardrobe and actually do what it is that you want to do. To me, that is the sign of a really fantastic pattern. And as you know, I love this one. So that's where I'm at with my knitting. I've got a number of things on the queue that I want to get into after this one. I haven't exactly decided which way I'll jump yet. I do feel the need for actually a little bit of gift or baby knitting. I have a couple of people in my sphere who are expecting, and I haven't actually knit anything for a baby for quite a while, and I'm kind of feeling the need. So I think that's where I might jump to next. But yeah, rather happy with that. Right. Oh, so good. I'm so glad that you guys are all... Oh, thanks. Oh, Nat, you're a star. Nat has just popped the link in for the pattern into the comments there for you guys if you're on Facebook. So check that out. And I was hoping today to be a little bit more organised and put notes and like show notes, as it were, that particularly sit in YouTube, but because my software was mucking me about this morning, I started doing that, and then I actually literally had to do a whole complete reboot and start again. So I will get onto doing that more readily in the future. Right, what did I want to talk about for today? So you may have seen the social media that I popped out last week. I was going to talk about it on Thursday, and then of course life got in the way, and the big thing that I popped up, you may have noticed, Wednesday I rushed in once I realised that it was looking like I was not going to be in the bay for the rest of the week. I very, very quickly rushed in and loaded up the Vintage Abroad. I showed you some of those last week, and I wanted to get those up, and you may have noticed that the price was at $4.95 with an introductory offer. And we're hoping to wait to announce that for you today. So some of you actually snapped that up last week when you saw that price go up. So it wasn't an error. It was actually something that we were going to do for today, but I just needed to make sure that I got it in because I wouldn't have time today. Anywho, so vintage abroad is now up. Steph has taken some fantastic imagery. So for those that haven't caught up with what vintage and vintage abroad are, here's a little bit of history around vintage. Vintage as a range was the very first range that I worked on when I came to work sort of for design spun proper. So I've been doing a little bit of work through the shop and things for a few years, but it was the first project that I worked on in terms of design and new product development as my sort of role began to grow. And it's like your first child, like